The man who lived for 30 years in the middle of a busy British highway. The reactions of the authorities might surprise you. Józef Stawinoga remains a man as mysterious in death as he was during his lifetime, whose unconventional way of living was met with a surprising degree of acceptance. For almost 40 years, the hermit could be seen in his unusual residence, a tent erected on the central reservation of Wolverhampton's Inner Ring Road. The A4150. Józef was born on December 15, 1920 in the small Polish village of Krążkowy. The details of his early life are mostly unknown, but he was known to have experienced the 1939 Soviet invasion of Poland. His nephew would later reveal that the occupation resulted in Józef serving for the German armed forces in Africa. Following the 1942 defeat at El Alamein, the 22-year-old found himself an English prisoner of war in Egypt. After the defeat at El Alamein, the campaign was stopped in November 1942. Józef was then in an English prisoner of war camp in Egypt and had to work even in the heat of the midday sun. In these conditions, many prisoners of the English did not survive. Someone noticed that he spoke good Polish and that he had a Polish mother, so he was allowed to join the Polish army in England. That was how he survived. But he had suffered mental problems because of his experiences in the war. When the war ended, Józef settled in the West Midlands city of Wolverhampton, where he attempted to live a normal life, marrying in 1952 and finding employment at a local steelworks. But the Pole struggled, with the marriage ending after just a year. Then one day, Józef didn't turn up for work. The next his colleagues knew, he was pushing a pram with all his possessions and had grown an ankle-length beard. For unknown reasons, that day in 1954, Józef had decided to opt out of society. But being homeless didn't seem to trouble him, and he made sure not to trouble anyone else, spending the days quietly wandering the streets with a stroller filled with his worldly goods. By the 1970s, when Józef erected plastic sheeting on the central grass reservation of the Inner Ring Road, as an established local vagrant, he was known to both the police and the council. Knowing he was claustrophobic, they decided to tolerate his new living space. Over the years, the solitary Polish man became a local fixture and was often spotted by motorists sweeping up leaves on the dual carriageway, leaving them in heaps for council workmen to collect. While people might not have understood the homeless man's reasons for shunning society and the comforts it could offer, they respected his decision, aware that he had clearly suffered mental trauma in the war. He disliked confined spaces and people in uniform. He was treated with care. The authorities came to place numerous replacement tents over his original setup over the years. By 2003, this task involved an operation involving the army, the police, social services, and environmental health. Following the placement of a new tent, a council representative explained their tolerance. Mr. Stawinoga has lived on the Ring Road in Wolverhampton for over 30 years, and although this is not an ideal situation, it has been accepted as the best option for him. We have taken into account his personal history and the fact that whilst located there, he can be visited daily by the City Council's Meals on Wheels service. Mr. Stawinoga is a very private person and does not like attention from people he does not know. The replacement of his tent has been done as quickly and efficiently as practicable so as not to unduly distress or agitate him, so that he can continue to live quietly and peacefully as he chooses. By this point, Józef was in his 80s. As he grew older, he was adopted by the local Hindu community, who saw in him the holy men in India who shunned all worldly possessions. Józef, or Fred as locals called him, became such a fixture of Wolverhampton life that he was even awarded an honorary degree by the local Polytechnic University. On October 28, 2007, the enigmatic Józef Stawinoga died, with the city council covering the cost of his funeral, which was conducted in Polish. Months later, it was reported that the homeless man had left thousands of pounds worth of untouched pension money, with Wolverhampton County Council eventually tracing the rightful heirs to Vienna, Austria. Why Józef chose to drop out of society is likely to remain a mystery. In his lifetime and following his death, rumors swirled around his decision to live so radically. One suggested he had been a member of the notorious Nazi SS, But this was swiftly dispelled by numerous people with evidence that proved this was not only untrue, but also impossible since Poles were not allowed to serve in the paramilitary organization. Some speculated that a failed love affair had led to his decision to live a solitary life, while others considered whether his lifestyle choice was a self-imposed penance for something he had done during the war. Or perhaps there is the simple explanation that war showed Józef a side of humanity that was just too unbearable to comprehend.